Am I the a-hole for telling my dad I'm not cutting off my grandma for not treating my stepsister the same as me? My dad and grandma have been fighting a lot since he got married 5 years ago. Grandma knows dad has poured way more energy into his stepdaughter, 16, than me, 17, and she tried to warn him that it was pushing me away. Dad would get defensive and say I needed to adjust to sharing him, and look, I get a mom out of it like my stepsister got a dad out of it. She told him I was being left out, and it wasn't his wife's job to make up for him focusing on his stepdaughter. It was on him to be a father to his son. My dad called her an interfering old bat, and he told her to F off. I backed my grandma up during one of their fights, and he accused her of putting it in my head. But I went to her about it, not the other way around. So in retaliation, my grandma has spoiled me and showered me with love and affection and doesn't do anything for my stepsister. This made my dad and his wife super mad. They said we should be treated equally or neither gets anything. My grandma wrote out what I got for Christmas the year before they got married, the year they got married, and the year after they got married, and what my stepsister got. She showed them the disparity in what they got me versus her, and showed she had previously treated us both the same with gifts and stuff, but no more. My stepsister is upset and hurt because she has no grandparents and wanted my grandma to accept her. I should probably feel bad about that, but I don't. She got my dad, so I'm glad grandma is loyal to me and not some new girl in our lives. It's not her fault, but I don't consider her family. I wish she and her mom would go away again, and I could have a good relationship with my dad again. But my dad is crazy about his wife and stepdaughter, so it won't happen. I spend a lot of time with grandma because of everything. This annoys my dad. He said I should be loyal to my family, and I told him I am. He said he meant my sister and the family we have at home. I told him I don't have a sister. I live with a random girl, but she's not biologically his daughter or legally his. I told him I'm not going to let her get everything while I get nothing. He said I had a better life than her before their marriage, so can't I accept she needs extra? And I told him no. I said he'd picked her over me, and I wouldn't forget it. Dad found out grandma got me a ton of stuff for Christmas, and I told him I'm going to her house this year. He told me so I'm going to get showered in gifts and not cut off the woman who got her own granddaughter nothing for Christmas. I said I'm not cutting grandma off for a stepsister I didn't ask for and don't care about. I don't care if she doesn't treat us the same because at least someone is picking me over her. I told him this all goes back to him tossing me aside the very first chance he got and prioritizing his stepkid. He told me he was disappointed in my lack of empathy, and I told him he disappointed me in his failings at being my dad, not his stepdaughter's dad, but mine. Am I the a-hole for pretending not to know English and calling her racist when approached by a girl who assumed I was Korean? I was out eating with my friend and his wife a few days ago and was approached by two girls who asked for my number. Fairly normal and harmless stuff, right? Well, before they came over, I had overheard their conversation about Koreans and Korean culture and how they were obsessed with it and wanted Korean boyfriends, etc. For context, I am not Korean. I am Japanese, but I understand Korean well as I went to school there when I was young. But they weren't to know this as they didn't know me. I asked my friend and his wife to play along when they came over. They are both also Japanese. The two girls asked me if I was single and could they have my number. I looked at them confused and turned to my friend, who spoke to me in Japanese. The girl furthest from me commented, "I love the Korean language." We were conversing in Japanese, and I could barely keep a straight face. The girls tried talking to B, but I just kept saying okay in English, and my friend told them that I didn't know English. So one of the girls pulled out a Korean phrase book and started asking me questions with the worst pronunciation I had ever heard, while the other girl held her phone on Google Translate to translate what I said back. I told them in Korean that I am, in fact, Japanese, not Korean, and that I found it racist that they assumed I was Korean, simply because I'm Asian. The girl who initially asked me for my number started crying, and they walked off. They were not nasty to me or my friends, but I feel bad for making her cry. Am I a bad person?